When someone passes, where do they go? Gone forever? Or can they show? What if you could find someone between to bridge the gap of those?
I'm Michele Livingston, and I've been a spiritual medium for the last 30 years, appearing on Fox News, New York.
Hello, everybody. I'm Greg Jarrett. Welcome back to Breaking News. To be a really interesting guest for the hour, Michele Livingston is a visionary counselor.
On stage with medium James Von Prague.
Did anybody smoke, Richard?
Yes.
I smell tremendous smoke even up here. Was that your father that smoked?
My father and my mom.
On ABC News.
Air, oxygen everywhere, you can't see it, but it's here. Same thing with the spirit realms. So even though it's in a beautiful invisible realm, I have the capacity to tap into it and actually see them. He says, thanks for the balloons. I have no idea what that means. God. Do you have your mother's ashes with you?
My brother and I had necklaces made with her ashes in them, and I just took it off the chain tonight and put it in my pocket because I was curious if it would come up, and it did.
From the east in Harrisburg, PA, to the west in Hollywood, CA, I'm the People's Medium.
Hello, Michele.
Hello, Tony. How are you?
I'm wonderful. So good to see you as always.
Spring has finally hit the eastern seaboard, at least in central PA.
That's good.
we had 70 degrees, then snow, then rain, then 70 degrees, but we're pretty good.
Oh, wow.
Right now.
Nice.
As people would probably know, even from me not posting it, our show tonight is on messengers from heaven in the form of birds and also finding different colored feathers. Those of you that saw the Alfred Hitchcock movie, Birds, fasten your seatbelts. Right. These are not going to move, so don't be afraid. And at least they're white. Right. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. But Tony, you were going to start with something about Zoom.
Yes. So tonight we're going to be using Zoom. It's a very fancy video conferencing unit that we are using, and we would love to have you join so you and Michele can see each other face to face. And so there's a link on Michele Livingston, the People's Medium page, and all you got to do is click on that link, and when you click on the link, it'll download a app. It'll put it on your desktop. Don't be afraid. That's what it's supposed to do. Once it opens up, it'll open up Zoom. You will be put in kind of a queue. You'll be able to see the show, but at the bottom left corner, you need to activate your audio and activate your video. Audio is the most important, so at least we can listen to you, and you guys can talk, but it would be great for you to activate your video so you and Michele could see each other and hear each other so she could give you an amazing reading.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thank you. So we're going to try this again this week. If you watched last week, people were very excited about it. We had a couple people on. They must have had their audio turned down, but it's something new and different because, as I said, well, it was actually 2 weeks ago, I'm thinking about doing Zoom mini readings, and I'll get to see you and you get to see me. Well, this show tonight is on, as I said, birds as heavenly messengers. I had a lot of emails from different people that wrote to me and said, please do a show on birds. The most prominent bird that they have seen are cardinals, but there's many other birds that your loved ones from heaven can influence to come to you or fly to you, to give you a special message. And as they are symbols of the soul, anything with wings, whether it's a butterfly, a bird, a dragonfly, are really strong metaphysical symbols of heavenly realms. Finding a feather as well represents rising higher, which a lot of people, I want you to know that, to your own spiritual awareness. Feathers have been used for eons with the Native American Indian society for rituals and for saging. But tonight, I'm just going to briefly go over what birds mean. If you find a certain feather, what it means. So I'm going to go through this starting now. When you find a bird feather, first of all, or when you see a particular recurring bird over and over, you need to think, what is the first thought that's in your mind when you see that species of bird or find the feather? And who do you think sent it from heaven? That's the first thing that you should have in your mind. The second thing is, how do you feel? Are you having an up day? Are you having a down day? Are you kind of in between day? So sometimes loved ones will send birds to raise our spirits. And that's what you need to think about as well. The other thing is, what color is the bird and what color is the feather? So those three are key issues into what is going to happen when you see them, when you feel them, and when you find out the color. So let me go with this. Bluebirds, one of my favorite birds. We have them in the East, and they're called Eastern bluebirds. They're getting a little more rare as time goes on. But when you see one, someone from heaven is influencing happiness, communication. Blue's the color of communication. Spiritual awareness, from earth to heaven, from heaven to earth. So we always heard about the bluebirds of happiness. And again, they're one of my favorites. When you find a feather, again, it means you're supposed to open up to communication, if it's a blue feather, and you're supposed to be open to your own spirituality. Some people are not quite open yet. And I do these shows, and some of them are very simple because I call them the virgins, and that's fine. Or the newbies, and that's wonderful. But I hope that you stay with me, because this is basically a bluebird feather. And we have them in our backyard. Love these. They're beautiful, aren't they?
Gorgeous.
Yeah. And Tony, didn't you say that you were sitting with a friend and a bluebird approached you? I don't know. That was a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, we were actually at the Magic Mountain, the amusement park, and we were just sitting there, and this bluebird just flew over and landed right next to us.
Now, is that outside of LA or is that in LA?
It's in Valencia, Santa Clarita, where actually I live now, which is about 30 miles north of LA. Yes.
So you really see nature, a little more nature.
Beautiful, yes.
Than you did.
It's so much more.
The second bird that I love is the blue jay. I'm just going to hold a picture up. Let me see if I can get this close.
Oh, that's beautiful.
For you. Yeah, let me see if I can get it straight too. There you go. Bluebird is the most interesting, and here's the feather. And if you really look at the feather, you can see black stripes in it. Now, this would be a tail feather of a blue jay. Blue jays have three primary colors. They have blue, and that represents the sky. They have white, which is heavenly realms, and they have black, which represents the earth. And they are a member of the crow family. They are scavengers, but they're beautiful. And I collect blue jay feathers. I didn't have any with white right now, but they represent unification, because when you have the sky and the earth and the heavenly realms together, it means balance and unification. So a blue jay will bring you that when you see one, or the loved one from heaven that's sending it to you wants to bring you unity. And that's what that means. And then, of course, I can't go on without mentioning the red cardinal, bright red cardinal. This morning, I was out, my bird feeder, and found two feathers. They probably will look more pink, but they are actually cardinal feathers. They're beautiful as well. And cardinal, as I said earlier, is really the most prominent bird that people recognize coming from a loved one. They mate for life, which is really interesting. They represent longevity or long life. Some cardinals can even live to be 15 years old. They work as a team together, and they raise the young together. So many times a spouse will send a wife, or vice versa, a cardinal. Now remember, they're not in the bird, they're not the bird. They are influencing the bird to land near you or fly near you to say hello. Red's the color of health. It's the color of vitality. So when you see a cardinal, it's from a loved one in heaven who's saying, get your nutrition right, walk, get some fresh air, feel healthy about life. And the other interesting thing is a mother and father could also send a cardinal, both male and female, to you if they've had a long lifetime together, 50 years of marriage or more. They are joined at the hip, most likely in heaven, and you'll see a pair of cardinals, and that is if your father and mother are passed. That's one of the ways they say hello. These birds are named, this is really interesting, for the cardinals in the Catholic Church. Did you know that, Tony?
No, say that again. Wow.
I'm not Catholic, but the actual bird got its name from the cardinals in the Catholic Church because they wear the bright red robes.
And then the point on the hat. Don't they?
Yeah, the mitre. The red mitre. So, if you can believe it, next time you see a cardinal, think of the you don't have to think of the church.
I'll do the cross.
But I thought that was like an interesting little aside there. Anyhow, red feathers. When you find them, they also represent passion in your life. They represent a zest for life. Some people feel really down, and in the East, it's called seasonal affective disorder. It's usually worse from November through March, where we don't get a lot of sun. So even in the winter, when you see a bright red cardinal on a pine tree, it just brightens you up. So they're bringing color to your life. The other bird I want to mention, and as you know, there are hundreds of species of birds, but these are the most common feathers found. The other bird is the crow, and if it's a larger bird, we call it the raven. Crow is the oldest bird in history, one of the oldest species of birds. The crow goes back to prehistoric times. And the reason it's lasted all of these thousands of years is that, number one, it's a survivor bird. They work in flocks. They post sentinels. They are scavengers, but they do what they need to do to survive. So when you see a crow, it's saying to you, bring up those survivorship skills, emotionally try to balance yourself. And if you find a crow feather as well. They also represent magic. You know, when you think of Edgar Allan Poe, quote, the raven nevermore. They're a mystical, magical bird. They may not be a pretty bird, but black is the color of going deeper within, basically, into a subject. And that's why crows are very prominent. And they do have that very weird call. Now, do you have them in California, crows?
Oh, yeah, I've seen them, yeah. But growing up in Kansas, I know there's a lot of them. But, yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, I guess most states have crows because they're very, very strong. Not only strong-willed, but I mean to keep going. And very intelligent, very, very intelligent. So crow is the bird I want to talk about. The other one, briefly, is the goldfinch. There are over 300, wait to hear this, species of finches. But my favorite is the goldfinch. So when you see a goldfish, it could be from a loved one in heaven, and it represents the mental plane. Even though in the chakras, yellow is at the lower abdomen region, sometimes in the spiritual sense, it's the mental plane. So golden yellow, whether it's a canary or whether it's a goldfinch, represents making decisions, having discernment, and also golden opportunities are coming your way. So when you find a goldfinch feather, keep it, because something's going to open up for you, and it could even be financially.
I'll be looking for that one.
Well, actually, I have a green feather here, but it's from a parrot. So somebody wrote to me and said, what does a parrot mean? They're exotic. You know, they live to be over 120 years old, some of them.
Wow.
But if you have a parrot, you're lucky, because they're just beautiful birds, all the colors of the rainbow. Robin is a very common bird to see in the East. It is a harbinger of spring. So it's one of the very first birds that come around here in Pennsylvania. And it means for you new beginnings. It means for you hope, new growth, and it could be an opportunity in a job, or just a new relationship. So there's hope when you see robins. And of course, they have the reddish orange chest. Red and orange are colors of the lower chakra areas, but they're also colors of creativity. And so when you find a robin feather, know that there's hope for you in different areas of your life, but also try to be a little more creative. It has to do with the creative life force. I'm going through these pretty quickly because I know we only have so much time and maybe some callers want to get through. But the other one that is fascinating that I really love is a woodpecker. My husband and I have a suet feeder in our backyard, which is now just like a park. There's every kind of creature you can think of on our land. But there's the red-headed woodpecker, and there's many types of woodpeckers. The woodpecker in the Native American Indian tradition represents drumming. And if you've ever heard one, they're, of course, drumming for insects on the wood of a tree. So the Native American Indian population uses drumming a lot, and they consider it the heartbeat of the earth. And I love that. That's their analogy for drumming. And also, it's very advantageous to find a woodpecker feather. You might even be a drummer in a band. And this woodpecker that's appearing, or you finding a woodpecker feather, could actually be that you are physically drumming, which is interesting. The other thing is maybe you have a Native American Indian spirit guide that's trying to say hello instead of just a loved one from heaven. So it represents new rhythms. When they drum, there's a rhythm to the way the woodpecker pecks. And I do have to say it has to do with patterns of life that will be changing for you, or new rhythms that are going to come up. We also have, these are prominent ones, the dove. And they're one of my favorite birds as well. Mourning doves, as we know, have the gray feathers, which is very similar to this. This is a dove feather. And also, this is a dove feather. So some feathers are tipped with white from doves. Doves represent proverbial peace. When you see a mourning dove or hear its coo, it's kind of like a haunting call. Or if you see a white dove, it's rare. But I do have to say people have found white dove feathers and also gray and white dove feathers. There's a lot of legend and mysticism and mythology around the dove. The dove goes back to ancient Greece with its mythology. So it is the harbinger of bringing you peace. They do appear at dusk and dawn. So if you want to be a bird watcher, watch for nightfall and daybreak, because that's when doves come out most of the time. Love them. The other bird I have to mention, I need to get a sip of water here, hold on, is the mighty, mighty eagle. Love eagles. We have a bald eagle that circles the house and comes into our backyard. Eagle is also a symbol of Native American Indians. They think that many times eagle is great spirit or the higher power of protection. Eagle has, as we know, very keen eyesight, and they build their nests very high on the cliffs. They have the capacity to soar to great heights. So when you see an eagle, it really means something. It means your responsibility is heightened for spiritual awareness on your journey through this lifetime. The feathers represent not only spiritual awareness, but they represent sharpening up your skills, sharpening up your intuition. And intuition, as we know, means inner knowing. So dove feathers, we have those a lot around the place here. The other one is the hawk. Oh my gosh, the hawk. Hawk.
Oh,
hawk.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that something? We have the red-tailed hawk here in Pennsylvania, the Cooper's hawk, and there's one called the rough-legged hawk, and there are some other ones as well. But the red tail is just absolutely amazing. They are birds of prey. And this is the food chain. They're looking for bunnies and whatever else is small and out there. It kind of breaks my heart, but that's life, the circle of life, so to speak, as Elton John sang in The Lion King. The great circle of life is a continuation. But it's not linear. Remember, we thought the earth was flat and ended up being round. So we think that we're born and we live and we die. Well, guess what? The cycle does repeat. So that's really interesting. The colors of hawk feathers will be, like I said, sort of a brown and tan, which is great, or red-tailed hawk. And it, again, opens up spiritual awareness. And the last bird that I want to mention, and there's probably other ones that you've seen and that you'd love to know about, if you would, write to me on my fan page. Last time, it took me an afternoon to give people's angels' names and also their color of the angel, but I will do it. If you have a question of a bird or a feather that's an odd color that you found, let me know. I'm not a total expert, but I've done the work for enough these many years that I know what different birds mean. I want to use the last bird as a power symbol for those watching, and that is the owl. As the hawk represents the sun, and this is very interesting, and it represents the solar cycle and daytime, the owl on the opposite side represents night, the moon, and the lunar cycle. And it is a bird of wisdom. In ancient Greece, Athena, which was goddess, she always appeared in their paintings or in their wall sketches as Athena would be standing with a big owl on her shoulder. And I'm sure there are many owl lovers out there. They have very keen hearing because they're nocturnal, and they have these amazing big golden eyes that can actually see through the night. And so they represent being able to see through the veil. They're very good as a totem for mediums because we hear what's not audible many times to other people, and we see what's not clear many times in the spirit realms that are not visible in this earth plane. So I love the owl. And the owl is also, this is really interesting, representational of the spirit world itself and of being able to contact the other side and being able to communicate with the other side. So like I said, I tried to pick a variety of birds and bird feathers to let you know if you see it, if you find a feather. Again, how does it make you feel? Who do you think sent it from heaven? And what color is it? And if you want to watch the podcast again, it's on YouTube. And also we have it, the original video that'll be on my fan page, The People's Medium, that you can watch over and over. So, Tony, what do you think about the birds and finding feathers?
I love, like I said, I find feathers a lot. And I think it's interesting that a lot of times we just take it for granted. We just think, oh, there's a feather, and we just move on. But sometimes, people that say, I never get a message from the other side. And it's like, it's right there in front of us many, many times.
Right there in front of us. Mm-hmm. And that's a good way to say it as well. So a feather lifts our moods, lifts us up, bridges the gap between earth and heaven. And I love feathers. So if you collect feathers, good for you. And if you use them in ceremonies or to clear the auric field or to sage your home, whatever, fantastic. So are we ready for, we're going to take a little break.
Time for a break.
Come back, and then we'll take either some calls or some Zoom. And also maybe Tony can get to some of the comments either in the chat room.
Oh, there's a good
or
one.
On my.
Yeah, I found a good one already that I want to ask you. So when we come back, maybe we can answer that one. All right, let's take a break.
On the other side, right, Tony?
All right, I'll be there. Here we go.
Do they accompany us on our journeys through life? Do departed loved ones continue to watch over and at times communicate with us?
Miraculous Encounters is over 100 true stories of people's experiences with angels and the other side. There are 10 different ways that the spirit realms communicate.
Miraculous Encounters, true stories of experiences with angels and departed loved ones. Available at michellelivingston.com and wherever books are sold.
Welcome back, Michele.
Welcome back. The reason we chose Miraculous Encounters is there's a chapter on angels and also the many ways that spirit realms communicate. There are 10 ways, and some of them are feathers. And so this is why we featured Miraculous Encounters. It's a really good starter book if you're finding pennies or finding feathers, or just want to learn about how your loved ones in heaven are saying hello. So what is the question? You said we have a comment or a question, Tony?
Well, this is a comment, or it's in the chat room on Facebook, and it's from Tammy, and it says 4 months after our son Nick J passed, he left a blue jay feather for me in the yard stuck straight up. It is now our sign from him. The day of his funeral, we came home from the church, and there was 2 cardinals on the screen porch through the open door. So, what when somebody like a spirit would stick it in the ground? What is it mean? A bigger message, or is it just saying, "Listen, I'm here"?
Oh, yes. My heart goes out to you, Tammy. If you've had a loss of a baby or a child, that's a tough one. But now you know that blue jay feathers are really metaphysical symbols. Blue's the sky, black's the earth, white's the spirit realms. So I think your loved one was saying, hey, look, I've bridged the gap. I've made it to heaven. And again, a pair of cardinals could have even represented your grandparents that have your child with them. She did lose a child. Is that what she said, Tony?
Yes, their son.
Yeah, their son. I'm so sorry. But watch for more feathers. Watch for cardinals appearing. That could be your grandparents or your parents, Tammy. And also always keep the feathers. That's a beautiful story. And your son was saying, look at me. I've made it. And I love you. That's what he was saying. That's a great comment. Thank you for saying that. So if anybody else has a comment or even a question on a specific bird.
Well,
somebody wrote me this morning, Tony, and said, what's a turkey?
Well, I've known a few, but
what does a turkey mean? I'll get into that later with whoever wrote that.
That's right.
I'll let you know what turkey means.
Well, actually, this was, I don't know if this is a dream or actually had seen birds, but Becky says, my ex said he always saw black, scary birds with big teeth, which birds don't have teeth, so I'm sure it means beak. In his house, I never knew what to think. Maybe it was a hallucination, but what if people dream of birds? Is it same significance as if they find a feather?
Yeah, it could be a significance. Dreams are powerful. Dreams, many times you are astral projecting like a bird. Humans have a fascination with the wings and the ability to soar to great heights like birds do. So many times dreams of birds or flying could mean that your soul is astrally out of your body and you're connecting with the realms or your guides or even your angels. But keep a dream journal. When you get awake, write down the color of the bird, what kind of bird. As far as the dark bird, it can represent negativity, black. And it's nothing wrong with the color black. And that's why the Alfred Hitchcock movie was so horrifying with all the black birds. But I want to say probably the boyfriend was going through some trials. It could be emotionally and some emotional issues. So, but dreams are pretty interesting. And I've had dreams of flying, by the way. I don't know if you have had, Tony.
Oh, I love flying. I definitely have many dreams. Has been a while, but I love flying.
When I was a child, I used to astral project through the house and bounce off the ceilings, and I thought all kids did it. So I'd go to school and say, where were you last night? Were you going through your house? And they'd look at me. There's a cord attached, to our navel, from our navel to the light body or soul body. But yeah, dreams of flying or running or falling or even going into water.
Oh, wow.
which is shown behind me, are signs that you're astrally out of your body. Interesting questions.
And here's one, and then I'm going to ask a personal question after this one. Robert says, 2 doves flew into the building I work for and landed by my feet. I reached out and almost touched it, gave them crackers, and now I think I have new friends.
Oh, yeah. Robert, they're trying to bring you peace. They do mate for life as well. So also think of who has passed that you loved, whether it's a pair of grandparents, for example, that want to bring peace into your life. And I can tell you're a sensitive person just from Tony talking about you. I'm getting the feeling. And thanks for them saying, thanks for the crackers.
Right. They were hungry.
That was a good thing to do, Robert. You're a kind person.
All right. Well, this is my personal story. Years ago, I was in Wichita, Kansas. That's where I lived for years, for about 7 years. And I was going through a lot, and I was like praying. I'm like, just show me a sign. Show me a sign. God, please show me a sign. And I look up, and this white dove flew right over my head. And I was like, where did this white dove? I mean, because, doves are usually like more of a gray. But this was a beautiful white dove, and it swooped probably about three feet above my head and just flew on. What do you think that was? What do you think? Just to say,
all right.
There's your sign.
Did you at the time have a grandmother pass? Was she passed then? Do you remember?
Grandma. Probably no, not for no. Because I think this was in the 90s, and my grandma passed in the early 2000s.
All right, let me tell you, since doves represent the feminine,
right?
All right, and the maternal, it's a maternal figure from heaven. So it could have even been a great-grandmother, really,
possibly,
trying to send peace down because you were praying for a sign. And it was answered, and it was probably an albino dove, which they're very rare, but they, of course, do exist. Magicians use them a lot.
Right.
But that's fabulous. So even watch for finding white feathers, Tony. And I do have to really confirm that was a figure that was probably on your mother's side. So I would say probably even a great-grandmother at that point.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, do you want to? Oh, go ahead, John.
I'm breaking in here. I have somebody on Zoom that has a question related to birds. So this is we're talking about. This is Susan Coons. So we're going to allow her to talk and bring her on.
Okay.
Miss Susan.
Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. Yes, this is Susan. Thanks for talking with me. My question is that since I moved into my house that I live in, there's been a flock of crows for the past 6 years. Now, all of a sudden, within the past month, the flock has left, and there's just one lonely crow left. And I see him every single day. And I've never felt like a sense of negativity around these crows. It's always been more a sense of like positive connection. And so I'm just kind of wondering what the message is from the one crow who stayed behind with me.
Okay, it's Susan, correct, Susan?
Yes, thank you.
It's Susan. How long were the flock of crows around you? How many years?
About 6 years.
All right. If you think back 6 or 7 years ago, you were going through some emotional issues, and you're a very giving person, Susan. And I have to say that survivorship is important to you emotionally, being able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, if you understand. Right. So the flock of crows came as a big group to say, don't give up, be a survivor, be self-empowered. I need to tell you that. And you've come a long way in the last 6 years with your own spiritual journey. The one lone crow is just to remind you, my dear, to keep going. You don't need the whole flock behind you to help you now, but keep going and keep surviving emotionally. Do you understand what's being said?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm glad. So you were going through some things. The other thing I want to ask you is there a dad figure or a grandfather past, paternal?
My grandfather has passed on.
Your dad's dad?
Yes, and my mom's dad.
Well, this is paternal side.
Okay, so yeah, that's sad.
Uh-huh. He
And
came
I'm
in on
actually living in his old house.
Well, that's why he's here. He comes in on the right side, Susan. And he tells me he's happy you're in the home. You're taking care of things the way you should. And he's a spirit guide of yours.
Okay.
So I know you think of him quite often.
Yeah.
And he's a character. He's a character. And he says things haven't changed much in the home. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've kept things pretty much the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I moved here with my twins when they were 1 year old, and I'm a single mother. So that's kind of what that's all about.
Yeah. And that would be perfect because he watches over your twins for you, honey.
All right. Thank you.
He watches over them. But Susan, thank you so much for trying Zoom. It's great to meet you. I feel like I've known you forever.
Yeah. Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Take care, sweetie. Bye-bye. Oh, that's interesting.
I loved it.
I don't know how the sound was, but we got through it, didn't we?
No, it sounded great. It sounded wonderful. It was great.
Now I still have Susan's name going across my name. Do you see that, Tony?
No, I don't. I see it now. Okay. You know what? I can take care of that. Ta-da!
Now I want to tell viewers and listeners that when you call in or connect with Zoom, even though it's a question about what we're talking about, whether it's a spirit guide or an angel or a bird communication, many times loved ones will take an opportunity to come right on in. And it's interesting that Susan is living in her grandfather's, paternal grandfather's house. And he just had to come in to say hello and let her know that he's proud that she's watching over things the way she should. So I really like that call. And that's how Zoom works. So I'd be more than happy to meet and greet you this way.
Okay, we've got some other ones here. We have got Amanda AJ, and she's wanting to connect with her grandparents because she's been dealing with a lot of medical issues lately.
Okay. All right. See if we can get Amanda through.
Amanda, are you there? Let's see if I can help her unmute herself. Okay, we got her unmuted. Amanda, you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you turn on your camera? We'd love to see you.
Yeah.
Oh, she sounds so sweet.
I can tell she's a sweet one.
Yeah.
Down there at the
should be at the bottom of your screen. To just click on the camera.
Trust me, everybody. Within 6 months, this will all be rolling along.
Oh, it'll be easy. It'll be easy.
Blonde, so bear with me.
Hey, I am too. Watch it.
I'm halfway there, Amanda.
Well, while you're trying to figure that out, why don't you go ahead and ask Michele your question?
Go ahead, dear. What's your...
I've been dealing with a lot of medical issues lately, and I've been seeing a lot of bluebirds, and just curious because I used to say every time I go to my grandparents' grave, these 2 bluebirds will always be there, and I would go there and lay flowers almost once or twice a month. I'm just curious if those bluebirds are with me a lot more, if they are my grandparents, and is it because I am fighting medically issues, or what things might be.
Yes, bluebirds as well, Amanda or AJ, they mate for life. So when you see a pair of them, it is your grandparents saying hello. They are protecting you, Amanda. I feel very tired with you. I'm not a medical intuitive, but I feel tired. I feel like drained with you. What's your medical problem?
That we can't really even figure out. I'm actually doctor to doctor because I've been in and out of the doctor's office and hospitals probably for the last year or so, but really the last 5 or 6 years have been really tough medically with autoimmune diseases. And throughout my whole life, I've been in and out. I've, at the age of 4, spent numerous months in hospitals. So I've always been in and out of the hospital. My health always has been kind of yucky. But this past year and a half or so, it's been the worst.
All right. As I said, I'm not going to make a medical intuitive claim, but because your immune system is down, B100 complex is very good with vitamin C to build up the immune system and to help the balance of the red and white blood cells. And that's why I felt tired with you. But just take it day by day. Amanda or AJ, know your grandparents are your spirit guides. And I want you to mark these words. You're going to be seeing a pair of bluebirds soon. And it's from them, my dear. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Next time we'll get your picture up.
I know. Sorry. It must be a blonde moment.
I love you. Good night, sweetheart.
Love you too. Thanks.
Okay, I've got Elizabeth who has some questions about feathers.
All right. Elizabeth.
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
How are you? Can you your camera on?
We've got something messed up here.
All right, there you are.
Are you in the woods?
Yes, I'm in the woods. That's where I live.
Oh, it's beautiful. Watch a bird fly by now. That's about what we need.
Flying just before we came on live to a bunch of little birds flying. But over the years, I've been finding feathers in a weird. So I've been up and collecting them.
Look at you.
Yes, I love birds. I love nature.
Oh my goodness, Elizabeth, those feathers.
Are those messages?
Now yes. Oh, absolutely. One looked like a hawk feather. I don't know if it was. Yeah. And one could be an eagle feather. So this is what I'm going to tell you. And thank you for zooming in. I'm going to tell you that your spiritual development has progressed over the last decade, and you will be seeing more hawks and eagles because your gift of vision, Elizabeth, is opening up. And with that said, it's not a physical gift. Your spiritual vision is opening up. And you're becoming much more aware of energy. And you are an empath. I don't know if that's ever been told to you. You get feelings about things, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And so with the keen eyesight of the eagle and the hawk, that is a message for you. I also feel, though, that a male figure who is passed and is now in heaven is inspiring the flight of the hawk to come your way.
So flying over my house. Every time I go outside, I see a hawk. Yes.
Now, is your dad passed away?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Your dad's influencing the hawk. And he's saying to me to tell you, Elizabeth, to keep looking up and to keep going, my dear, because I know that you have some down days. We all do, but you don't complain. Your dad's saying.
Yeah, no.
I know. You don't complain. You always keep your chin up. So I want you to know Daddy loves you. Dad loves you. You will be seeing a hawk within the next 3 or 4 days. He's going to influence one to fly again.
I'm looking for him right now. No, not now.
You will. Let me know when you do, my dear.
Yeah,
Thank you for using Zoom and for sharing your feathers.
and where are you zooming in from? Where are you located?
I'm in Pennsylvania, East Stroudsburg.
Oh, but are you originally from another country?
Yes, I'm from Poland.
Okay.
Before in person.
Yes.
Event.
I can't quite see you. You're a little bit in the dark. But thank you so much, darling.
Okay. Maybe you could see me now. I'm not sure.
I love it.
Well, I love you. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless.
Oh, we have another one here that Autumn, that has an attachment to birds and had pet parakeets and used to bring dead birds home in her wagon because it made her sad.
Aww.
So let's bring her on here.
Let's see.
Well, I have a picture of Autumn. And I think it's with her little girl. It's a still picture. Hi, Autumn.
There we are.
There.
Hi. Hello, my dear.
Hi. My daughter always watches with me, so she's super excited.
Hi, sweetheart. Well, Autumn, hi. What's your daughter's name?
Mariah.
Hi, Mariah.
Hi.
You're beautiful. What's your question, Autumn? What were you saying here now?
Well, I was just writing my experience. I grew up at I think I was about 4 when my dad got me my first parakeet, and they lasted, many years, and they were like my best friends as a kid. And then the last one I had, I think, passed away when I was like 17 or 18 in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the story I shared too is that my mom told me that I used to bring my wagon home with dead birds in it because I felt bad for them. She could do something, but I don't really remember all that, but she tells me those stories all the time.
Well, you're very spiritually connected, my dear, because as we have said, birds are symbols of the soul. And I'm going to tell you something. Is your mother passed away?
No.
There's a grandmother figure then, maternal, that's around you. And I do have to say, you're going to find feathers. Now, just watch for this. And some of them might be blue feathers or blue jay feathers. And along with the birds, you have a big heart. Yeah, I know you love nature. We've never met, but I can tell you love nature. You love animals. And you're going to have an interesting bird experience coming up. And if you're on my Facebook page or my fan page, please write to me and let me know what it is, Autumn. All right?
I will.
And you should get your daughter a parakeet.
Yeah, she talked about that. We have 3 cats now, so I don't know how that would work out.
I don't know how that would work out, but I have a gentleman as well, like a dad or granddad figure, saying, "Get my granddaughter a parakeet." And actually, a Tweety is being shown. Isn't that funny? Do you remember Tweety Bird cartoons?
Yes. I had a watch with a Tweety bird, and when my dad first brought the first bird home, he was yellow, so I wanted to name him Tweety, but we didn't name him Tweety.
Well, you might want to get a canary and call him Tweety Bird. Okay. Seriously, that's funny. But thank you so much for listening, Autumn. It was so nice to meet you. And I'm glad that you and your precious little girl watch the podcast. I'm glad she likes them. Bye-bye, sweetheart. I can see you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, Autumn. Thank you.
You too.
That's adorable.
Wasn't she cute? Oh my goodness.
Mom and daughter watching Michele Livingston. That is amazing. I love it.
Talking about Tweety Bird.
I know. I thought a pretty tat. I guess that's Sylvester.
Okay, Michele there's one other gal on here on Zoom. I think it's a lady. It's Devin. that's wanting to get some information about her boyfriend's dad.
Okay, we can try this. I'm Devin, Devyn. Let's see if we can get her on. Hi, Devin. Hello. Hope she can hear me. We see part of her. Bear with us. I know the show tonight is on birds, but if you do have a question about a loved one, and I'm not quite sure what Devin is asking. Her boyfriend's father, I assume, has passed away. John, can we get her on somehow?
I think, I don't know if they, there we go.
Devin? I don't know about the audio. Turn up your audio.
Make sure you click on it and at the bottom left.
She's trying.
Yeah. Oh, look at that baby.
Oh, look at the baby. Oh my gosh. Hello. Aw, precious baby. Well, we'll have to get her again. We'll get you again. Are there any other ones, John? I'm sorry that one didn't pan out. We're trying. Hey, Tony, do we have any calls?
We sure do. You want to take a few before we get out of here?
Yeah. Let's take a call just for shake it up a little bit.
All right, let's do that. So go ahead and this is from a 717 number. So 717, you're on with Michele Livingston. What's your question? Where are you calling from?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Who is this?
Hey, Michele Livingston. This is Jen Shade.
Jen Shade. I love you. Thank you.
Surprise.
Surprise. And you were just in Arizona. So did you see any interesting birds?
I was. You know, it's amazing. Yeah, I saw some birds. I don't know how to identify them. They were black with white feathers. They came around us all the time. It was very odd. I have no idea what they meant. But I just wanted to like buzz in and say hello. I never called in. I've worked with you so many times that I just thought I'd call and see if I could get through to say hello. And hawks. Hawks are huge.
In Arizona, all around here as well.
It was amazing.
Hawks could be a totem bird of yours, Jen. And I know you love feathers as well.
They are. I'm never really sure what they mean. But here's the thing: you had mentioned about flying when I was younger. I had a very vivid situation that I remember. I came out of the bedroom that I was sleeping in, and I got up and I flew and I hit my head on the ceiling and I fell down back onto the carpet.
Wow!
And it was so clear that I can honestly, I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Now,
so I was wondering what those kind of things meant.
Is that in a dream state, or were you actually awake?
I'm not sure, but it was so clear that I probably was about 8 years old. But I remember it I remember the feeling of picking up, and I've had those other sensations. So I had the feeling of picking up and flying, but I actually almost like bumped into the ceiling. So I brought myself down and I skidded across the carpet, but it scared me because that's not normal, right?
Well, that's an out-of-body experience, an OBE, and you actually were out of your body. You probably were astral projecting and coming back in your body, and it almost felt like physically you were going up and down, where the soul was actually coming in. And that's interesting, because I used to do that all the time, so we have something in common. We were flying around when we were young.
When you have moments like that, or if your child tells you, that's how I felt, what do you do with that?
Encourage them. Tell them basically that we have our physical body. Even when they're young, they can see spirits and they understand in the formative years, and that we have a light body or a soul body. And sometimes the soul body or light body will go up to heaven and meet grandpa, for example, and come back. So if they have dreams
how do we encourage ourselves when we're adults, when we're a little scared?
When we're a little scared.
Like, how do we expand on that?
Most of the time when we're out astral projecting, we really don't remember. And maybe that's a good thing, because there's a lot of information that we retain when we're talking to a loved one or a spirit guide. When we come back, usually we come back like between 3 and 5 in the morning or 3 and 4 in the morning, and we're usually tired then. So I always say, again, start to write things down, because we have a form of amnesia when the soul is out and comes back in. It's hard to retain what we've experienced. We do that through lucid dreams, as we know, because you and I did a show on dreams, which was really fascinating. And so I may have you back, my dear. You look at your schedule and you let me know what Wednesday, and we'll pick a good subject. And we'll do one of these together.
This is fascinating. The hawks, and again, I have to look up the kind of bird that was following us out there in Arizona, but again, always amazing stories. I just wanted to just check in. And yeah, as soon as you said about the flying thing, I thought, I remember having that dream when I was younger, and then I felt really weird talking about it because it was too real to not, it was real. Like I did it. Yeah. I know I did it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what was happening. And it, in our age range, well, of course, I'm older than you, but it's difficult to share things sometimes with adults or with other people.
I couldn't go running out to the living room and going, hey, everybody, I flew last night. That's really awesome. And then they'd all like look away and go, what?
And you didn't even watch Peter Pan that night, So it's
no, not at all. Not at all. No. So you made a lot of sense when you said what you said. And I'll look up the bird and everything else, but I want to tell you, I love you and you do amazing work. And yeah, you hit a total tone with me. The hawks are all over the place. There was one just circling my house yesterday. I mean,
my gosh.
Almost probably about 30 feet above my head.
Well, watch for finding feathers next. You will find them.
Okay.
So,
and I will
love
find,
you
I will
too,
find
my
more
dear.
feathers. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the 20th at Hebron.
Yeah, May 20th in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Jen and I are going to do a seminar together, and we always have so much fun. And it's almost sold out. So that's good. May 20th, good. Sunday. Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to bomb your event, but you got me all excited when you talked about flying in the living room or something, and then I got, So have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. What a surprise. Oh my gosh. I have to tell a quick story, if I can.
I'll go for it.
I'm on a morning drive time show as a guest. I've been on for 11 years, and Jen Shade is on with Nipsey, and Earl David Reed is a comedian. And Earl David Reed, his mother came through during one of the morning drive time shows I was on and said, I'm going to send you cardinals. I'm going to send you a cardinal, Earl. Well, he freaked out. And he thought that his mother was this cardinal. He thought his mother changed into a cardinal and was following him all around because he'd see them wherever he went. So if you're watching Earl, your mother is not the cardinal. She's influencing the cardinal to come to you. So it's been kind of a joke for the last decade with Earl David Reed. But I love the People's Morning Show. I'll be back on hopefully sometime in May. So do we have any other quick questions from fan page or anything else?
Well, if we have time, I have a Shauna on here that wants to know about eagles.
Oh, good. All right. Be patient, Tony. We have a couple minutes to go here.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
I know. And then pretty soon it'll just start to flow. You just wait.
No, it's good. Like I said, I'm in technology. Love it. So, hi, Shauna.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi. I was hoping that I wouldn't be on live. I'm a mess.
Oh, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Where are you calling from, Shauna? Are we Zooming?
From South Carolina.
Okay, and I'm gonna make a joke. I'm gonna say you're Zooming. You're Zooming from South Carolina.
Okay.
What's your question?
My question is about eagles, because a couple weeks ago we were driving and a bald eagle was flying, and it dove down and was eating on the side of the road. And then later that day, I was talking to my brother in Wisconsin, and he saw the same thing, and he actually posted a video.
Wow.
Eagle. And
Okay.
I thought, okay, this has got to be something.
It is something. It is not from a loved one. Wait till you hear this. Fasten your seatbelt, darling. It's from a Native American Indian spirit guide of yours. Now, what would be a tribe near you in South Carolina? In Tennessee, they have Cherokee. In North Carolina, they have Cherokee. In Pennsylvania, Susquehannock and Lenape. And I don't know if you're on Indian burial ground. Your place could be, are you on land right now? Is your home on land?
Yeah.
You're on some Indian burial ground, Shauna. I have to tell you that.
Okay.
And there are Native American Indians around your property. They are at the doors and windows protecting you from harm. And I do have to say that the eagle is great spirit in their tradition. So, Shauna, you're being watched over, you're being protected, and your spirituality is sharpening up. So you're going to start to feel more energy and have more dreams. I don't know, do you ever dream? But you're going to have more dreams.
Yeah, I do.
And I just have a real quick, is your dad passed, honey?
Yeah.
I have him saying hello.
Okay.
He's pushing in, he's chomping at the bit to say hello to you.
Okay.
And he tells me life hasn't been easy for you, Shauna, but you've made it. And he's winking. He's doing this. And do you have a sister as well?
Yeah.
Do you have a sister? He's sending love to your sister as well. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's the eagle connection. You're on Indian burial land. And you'll see it again. There'll be another bald eagle soar in.
Oh, okay. Well, that's neat.
So remember to figure out what tribe is near you in South Carolina. Would you please look that up?
Yeah, I will. I know there's like Waka, everything's Waka something.
Well, you got some walkers around because they're protecting you. So good night, darling. Thank you so much for calling South Carolina.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
I heard it.
I love that.
I heard it was
That's
Willy Wonka.
interesting.
I said I heard it was Willy Wonka. I'm just kidding.
And the chocolate factory.
That's right.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this was an interesting subject.
No, it's
and
great.
I can't wait to get to my fan page to see what questions people have. And so I'll be on, let's see, we may, in 2 weeks from now again, it'll be a special event. And we're going to talk about the seminar. But again, I don't have a subject. So if you would like a subject, please let me know. That's how I get these topics for you.
So it'll be May 9th.
May 9th. That's a Wednesday, right?
That's right.
So I want to say I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you learned a little bit of something about birds and feathers. Always be kind. God bless. Mwah!
Bye, Michelle. Have a great week.
See you later.
All
You
right.
too, Tony. Thank you, Tony.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you enjoy the Michele Livingston Show and want to see her in person, check out her next live seminar.
So here we go. If you can work with me, close your eyes. We're going to take 8 deep breaths, and we're going to start.
Have you recently lost a loved one?
Who lost a husband recently? I had to take a deep breath with him. I feel it was fairly quick.
Could you be the next one to get a reading?
I think I'm with you, sweetie. There's a name like Bree. Bree. They're showing me cheese. That's what. That's the new one. They showed me Bree cheese and her daughter's name Bree. See how this works?
This seminar will provide an experience that will truly enhance your understanding of the other dimensions.
When we get over there, we train to help 1 or 2 people that are on the earth plane, and we train to be their guides or their helpers.
and confirm that you
There's a dad figure coming through here.
are never alone.
Did you enjoy it?